Good morning. I'm hopping on a little bit early, so I'm just gonna chit chat probably by myself for the next little bit. And anyone that joins me, I will be officially starting and introducing myself at exactly or just a couple minutes past 10:30. So for anybody who's watching this after it's been filmed, you can fast forward probably the first 5 minutes or maybe even 6 minutes because I'm not going to officially start just yet. But for anyone who's seen me do this before, we've had a few technical difficulties trying different things. So here I am, early to make sure things are working. I think they are. I'm actually not on Facebook. We're streaming this to Facebook from another platform. So if anybody could just comment to let me know that this is working, that you can see me. It says I'm live. Says that there's a few viewers. So welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning. You know what, I'll chat a little bit about the comedy show that we did a few days ago. Some of you may have actually come and seen it, but it was amazing. So myself and my team, we planned a comedy show, a virtual comedy show, which was a fundraiser. And it was such a great turnout. We had about 70 people come. It was on Zoom. We had 8 comedy acts. Hey, Stephen. Okay, good. So this is working. I'm glad. So for anyone joining right now, I'm just chit-chatting a little bit because I started slightly early. Okay, there we go. I started slightly early. So if at any point, anyone that's here right now, hey, Mr. Singer John, welcome. Yes, I'm just starting a little bit early, ranting, chatting about this comedy show fundraiser that we did last week. That was such a blast. We had 8 comedians. We had this sick musical performance. I loved it. About 70 people in total. And it was such a cool way, especially right now. I mean, we wouldn't have done it if this wasn't happening right now. But yeah, it was such a nice way to come together on a Wednesday night, have a drink, and yeah, watch some live comedy. And we had comedians from Toronto and Ottawa and even LA. So it was good times. So a couple more minutes and we will officially start. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for coming. I have my notes. I'm actually very excited about today's topic. So we'll talk about it soon. Cool. So, I mean, of the people that are here, can we introduce ourselves? Can we say like, hey, what's up? What I would really like today actually is, I mean, I already see that you guys do this when I'm doing my live. And what's really cool is sometimes you guys will ask questions and some of the other people that are watching will answer those questions. So I really love to see that. I mean, really cool if we can get this, like, you know, the community communicating. And good morning. Hi, Aleem. So Saturday, I think next week, what day are we? The 2nd. So it was around the 11th of March. I remember like all the big news about COVID hit. So we're approaching that 8-week mark for most people, which is, morning, Rob. Look at the guys, the male support, the masculinity in their room right now. I feel so lucky. There's my calendar telling me I have to do a Facebook Live. Yeah, so it's we're approaching that 2-week mark. I know that a lot of us are in different provinces as well, and you know how things are unfolding. Good morning, Brad. how things are unfolding is, different for everybody, and not only like what our provinces are saying, but also, just like what the people around us are saying and what our insides are telling us. So, but anyways, I won't talk too much about that. I will leave that to the experts, and I will do what I do best, which is talking about dating. So let's just give it maybe a few more minutes. I told everyone we'd be starting at 10:30. Okay, that's so sweet, Danny. Thank you. Pumping me up on this Saturday. And I don't know about, I know that I know, Stephen, you're in Ottawa. I think there's someone here from Toronto as well. Rob, you're in Ottawa as well. Good morning, Novi. It's a beautiful day here in Montreal, and that usually seems to be the case. It's going to probably be a nice day, probably in Ottawa and Toronto as well. Good morning, Francine. Happy Saturday. Thank you guys so much for coming. Okay, so I think we can just be patient with me, guys. Let's just give it maybe a few more minutes. I think we should have a few more people hopping on soon. Good morning, Jennifer. Look at the Ottawa peeps here today. Cool, cool, cool. Thanks for coming, Jen. Dieta, hi Dieta. Sorry, I missed it. I think you're, what's cool about this new platform is if you guys ask a question later when we do a bit of a Q&A, I can actually, Danny, I'm gonna show yours. I can actually show the questions. So I'm enjoying this new platform, and this is just a much easier way to for everybody to see what the question is, and then we can discuss that question. So that's really cool. Oh, and Aleem is here from Calgary, bright and early. Thank you. I hope you have a nice, strong cup of coffee. So I hope everyone this was easy to join, right, guys? Like right from the Facebook page. I'm not actually on the Facebook page, but I think we'll jump right into it. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kavita Ajwani. I'm the owner of Dashing Date, and Dashing Date is a Canadian-based speed dating company. We've been operating for 8 years now, and it's nice to see some, hi Levente, it's nice to see some people in my audience who have worked at Dashing Date before and been to Dashing Date events. So really appreciate the support, and thank you guys for coming. Today we're going to be talking about something that I am very passionate about, which is how to be a good single. And when we announced this topic by email, we actually got a few responses, and they were like, Kavita, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean by this topic. I have no idea what it's about. I don't should I join? I don't really understand. So every month, just as a starter, every month we do a monthly newsletter. It's posted on our blog. And in that monthly newsletter, we've been doing this for 2.5 years now. So in that monthly newsletter is a dating challenge. So every month we give our speed daters, our audience, our readers, we give you guys a dating challenge to complete. So if you're in the mood for some dating challenges, you can definitely go check out the blog and look up some of the older posts, because pretty much all the dating challenges, they're not time sensitive. So you might find one that really stands out for you and resonates with you, and something that you could experiment with right now. This month, the challenge is to be a good single, and I'm excited to dive into it. I'm also very excited, so that's why I want to keep the chat going, because I'm excited for you guys to chat back and forth. And after I go over a few of my tips, maybe just share what some of the things that are coming to the forefront for you on this topic. So I'll share a very small story. I actually thought of this morning. It wasn't initially going to be part of this conversation, but over the last little while, there's been a lot of changes with Dashing Date. And I remember just being very like confused. Like I brought on a new business partner, and I, working with new employees, not working with some employees anymore. And, there was a lot of changes. And when we're hit with these changes, sometimes we don't know exactly, like, what is exactly the best way for me to handle this situation. And I remember just like opening a Word document and jotting down a bunch of things that I said to myself, I wrote out for myself that what are some of the rules that I'm going to follow? What are some of the guidelines that I, as a businesswoman, want to follow, want to remember, to stand by, and what are these set boundaries or parameters within which I want to operate as a businesswoman? So that way, when things come my way that I'm not expecting, I have this protocol that I know, okay, I can look at this and I can use these guidelines to take my next step forward. So basically, I wrote down what it means for me to be a businesswoman and what I'm going to do to be a great businesswoman. So we're going to use that as, how to be a good single. And where this, at first, the way I explain it in the blog post is there are so many, like the dummy books, for example, like there are so many how-tos, there's so many blog posts, like in detail, how to be a good mom, how to be a good girlfriend, how to be a good daughter, how to be a good employee, a good boss. Like literally fill in the blank. There is a way to be good, like a standard kind of accepted by society, how to be a good friend. There's a way to be good at almost anyone, like any, role that we play in our lives. But I find it's very rare that people talk about how to be a good single. Like, what does it really mean? So my goal for you guys today is to take what I say, run with it, and then also develop a protocol that really makes sense for you, because the way we view dating, our own experiences in dating, our perspective of dating is all very different, especially for men and women, and depending on where you're at in your life, the different types of things that you've been through. So I'm going to start very, very basic level, assuming that you're single and dating, or maybe in like a newer relationship, or in and out of, relationships, or even just like dialogues here and there where something might be starting, but, it fades out. I know you guys have seen this happen so often, especially with online dating. Something starts, it fizzles out. Something starts, it fizzles out. So a lot of these tips are going to apply to all of this that you guys go through often, weekly, monthly, daily even. So let me see, did I cover everything? Yes, I did. Okay, so one last thing I'm going to say, guys, is I really think that something needs to change in the dating world today. We've all had some kind of shitty experience. We've had some kind of like bad behavior. We've faced something that we probably didn't deserve to face. We've been treated in a way that we probably didn't deserve to be treated. And I think the best way to make this change, like with anything else, is to lead by example. And I really think that if we start to make these little changes on the dating scene, it won't be so difficult for the next person to make that change. So really setting that example. So the very first one, and Danny, we've covered this before in one of the last lives. I kind of brushed over it. It was RIP ghosting. So no more ghosting. So to be clear, these are some of the rules that I think should just be as a base for anybody single today. We should all be following at least these rules. So no more ghosting. It's not cool. It's not polite. All you have to do to not ghost someone is end the conversation or tell them you're not interested. It's being ghosted after you've started a conversation with someone and leaving someone feeling confused, feeling disrespected. Just, end the conversation. it was nice to meet you. I'm not really interested. I've decided, to go like another way. I've actually, I'm seeing someone else. I'm taking a break, whatever. Give them a reason and actually end the conversation. This is for both of you. This is to be nice to the person that you've been talking to. And this, yeah, be a Ghostbuster. Thank you, Levente. I like it. Let's put it up there. So this is for both of you. It's for you also to not have like lingering thoughts like that, you have like all these conversations that you've just like left these people hanging. Let's stop ghosting. So number one rule in your new protocol is I will not ghost people. If I'm not interested in them, if I'm not continuing a conversation with them, I will tell them. That's it. Very, very simple. I am going to go through the comments after, guys. So please do feel free to write out your questions, comments, and we'll go through them. We'll go through them at the end. Okay, the next rule is close the loop on all conversations. This is even if you've been ghosted. So another thing that when it comes to dating, wow, it's like lipstick all over my cup. It's embarrassing. Sorry, so yeah, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked with the comments, but again, we'll get to them after. So close the loop on all conversations. So the way I wrote it in the protocol is, if I've been ghosted, I'll politely close the loop on the conversation and wish the ghoster well. My wishes will be sincere and genuine. So if the conversation didn't go as you expected, if you've been ghosted and you have these, again, like you may be going to sleep at night or throughout the day thinking about, you know what, that person like never wrote me back. That's, I got ghosted. That's kind of shitty, whatever it is. You can go in and end that conversation and prepare yourself to be genuine about just saying to yourself, this person was not for me. They do not have a how to be a good single protocol, which is why I've been ghosted, but I'm going to be polite. I truly wish this person the best of luck. This is what you're saying in your head. I truly wish this person the best of luck. And I, for your own peace of mind, one-liner, not a storybook, one-liner, you're going to close the conversation. Hey, it looks like, you've gone another direction. No problem. Just wanted to close the loop on this conversation and wish you all the best. Do not do this. None of these items are to get a response out of somebody. These are not tactics. They're not tools. They're not games to play to try and get a reaction. So you're not saying this for someone to write back and be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to, I got busy. At that point, it's absolutely up to you to continue the conversation or not, but that's not why you are closing the loop on this conversation. It's kind of like decluttering your mind. So to really not have like 5, 6, 7 open conversations where somebody just didn't, where somebody just didn't reply to you. Declutter, close the loop, start fresh. The conversations that you are actually having right now should be conversations that are actually being had. So close the loop on all conversations. Next one on your list is asking for permission. There's probably things here that are gonna, like men might think I'm speaking more to them than not, but it really applies to everybody. So be it a kiss, a date, or even to add someone on Facebook. Even something as simple and tiny as that, I will always ask for permission. Just because you started talking to someone, just because you've been on one date with someone does not give you the permission to enter their lives. And now, you're without asking for permission, if somebody's not ready to have you see everything on their Instagram, everything on their Facebook, they're just not ready. And that's totally okay. You should also, your intention for adding someone on Facebook, it might be just so, it's not about like trying to like spy on their lives. It's just, so it could just be a very, what's the word I'm looking for? innocent thing that you're doing. But still, another something that I would really suggest, anything that you're about to do, I will ask for permission. I know that there's a lot of gray areas with all of these things, like a kiss, maybe in the moment, and it's clear that you guys are going to kiss. Like there's no, it's obviously you guys are going to kiss. Don't stop and be like, oh my God, is it okay? Like, these are just basic rules. So don't take what I'm saying like, 100% or not. I'm saying these things trusting that the people watching right now, that you know what you're doing, that you can read the signs, that you understand the signals, that you can be, really intuitive and know how to navigate the dating space as best you can. These are just the guidelines. So yes, I will always ask for permission. Next. Are we on board? Does this make sense? Let me know. Like, is this clear? This is a big one. And the next one is don't take rejection personally. So what I find so crazy is that how quickly, just from like a swipe, we suddenly feel like somebody, thank you, Aleem. Just from swiping on someone, just by matching with someone who we haven't even spoken to yet, we somehow think that this person owes us something already. Just because somebody matched with you, they don't have to respond. I ideally, and this could go on your protocol list too, that if you are going to match with someone, have the intention to have a conversation with them. I spoke about this in one of the recent lives that I did on online dating. But from your perspective in this scenario, is nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you a date just because you've asked them out on a date. Nobody owes you, nobody has to like you just because you've made the choice to like them. And the sooner you get this in your head, like the easier things just get. Like, not everything, and this is what I wrote in the blog. It's like actually I didn't write this in the blog, but I wanted to write, nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes me shit. And that's it. And the sooner I get that, I will start to take rejection on the dating scene much less personally. But this person doesn't even know you yet. They don't even know you. They're not rejecting you specifically. Kavita, they don't know anything about me yet. So what the tip is, don't take rejection personally. What the protocol is someone doesn't have to like me just because I've made the decision to like them. I'm not meant to be with everybody that I show interest in. Nobody owes me anything. And that's a big one too. You're not meant to be with everyone that you swipe right on. They're rejecting your profile. Okay, again, I will get into all of these. And thank you guys for the comments. Excited to dive into them after. And the next one is, and this could be seen as something much bigger, but my tip here is don't be a bad breaker upper. And this applies no matter how fleeting your relationship or your conversation's a little bit different, but if you've dated at all, if you've had 3 video dates, 2 video dates, the ghosting still applies here. So still don't ghost. But if you've gone just to that slightly next level and you've been on a few dates, you've clearly expressed interest in this person, you know that this person has, sees you in a certain way or is expecting the next date, always end your relationships in a way that honors the relationship you had with someone. Like, show some respect, to give yourself this relationship that you formed and the person that you formed it with. Show some respect to that relationship. Give it the respect it deserves by ending things in a really nice way. And this goes hand in hand with the last tip. Not everyone you're not meant to be with everybody that you had originally expressed interest in. So always end things nicely, tied up with a nice little bow. One of the biggest things to remember about everything that I'm saying right now, and this is like underlying for all of these tips, all of these guidelines, is that you are not responsible for how somebody reacts. So just because you are letting someone, if you've chosen not to ghost someone and instead you're telling them that you're not interested and they take it badly, that's fine. Except that when you're putting this together for yourself, accept that it has nothing to do, none of these things have anything to do with how somebody else is going to react. These are guidelines that you follow, that these are the things, what are the things that make you a good single? What are the things that you have experienced on the dating scene that you never want to see repeated? That's how this list starts. So if you've treated someone badly and you know you have, and it sat with you, and that's, you know that what you did, those are the things that you don't want to do again. If you've been treated badly, if you've been hurt, no matter how small the thing is, but anything that you recognize as something that should not be happening, these are the things that should go on your personal how to be a good single protocol. This is what I want you guys to develop. So again, most important among all these things, it has nothing to do with how somebody reacts, as long as you know you are doing the right thing. Okay. That's a good point, Aleem. I'll just quickly show this because it ties right into one of my next points. Oh, it's going to be so cold because it's online. Exactly. So my next tip is actually always speak to someone online the same way you would speak to them in person. Imagine when you're having a conversation, when you're about to be rude to someone, maybe you're retaliating, you're like in that like reactive mode. Pretend they're in front of you. Pretend they're right in front of you. How would you speak to them if you were face to face? And think about that and then respond. And I agree with you, Aleem. Like like I said before, we need to start to make these changes online. Just because other people ghost doesn't mean you have to ghost. But yeah, act like they are in front of your face. So and when you think about it that way, the way we would handle a situation is so different. This even applies to ghosting. If you're sitting and having a conversation with someone face to face, you are not getting up and walking out unless something really, really terrible happened. And so same thing, when you're sitting in front of, pretend this conversation is happening in front of you. How would you go about it if you wanted to leave that conversation? If you wouldn't go on a date with this person again, but you would finish the conversation. You would say goodnight at the end of that night and move on. You're allowed to move on. So again, it's not about how other people react. So always speak to someone online the same way you would speak to them in person. My next one is respect someone's space and privacy. And when I say respect their space and privacy, like actually respect it. Think about what it means for someone to need their space in their busy day, especially when you're just starting to date someone. You don't know their full lives, and in some cases you know a lot and you still don't respect their space and privacy. You still expect to be the center of attention. Like, why didn't they text me? How come they didn't think about me first thing in the morning? So the space is important. Okay, just because you messaged someone, just because you had, the evening off and you were in the middle of a conversation and this person hasn't written you back yet, give them time, respect their time, their space, and privacy. Also, do not this happened to me. When I'm just thinking the crowded restaurant I was in. I was at a restaurant. I was with my mom, and this should have been a red flag early on. And I'm not single, but I was at a restaurant with my mom for her birthday and my best friend, and this guy recognized me, which was so crazy. I did this random Videotron interview thing like here in my house, and this guy at another table recognized me and he came over, and it was actually really cool because my mom was there, so she was like, you know, all proud, and I gave this guy my phone number, and it was because he said that he was interested in matchmaking services and blah blah blah. So I give him my number, and he started messaging like that night or the next day, and it was just like, it was a Sunday that I'd gone out with my on the birthday. No, it was not you, Levente. I'd gone out. This was a Saturday night that I had run into him, and Sunday he started messaging me like all kinds of work related questions, and I try not to work on Sundays. So I didn't answer the messages. Like, these are work related questions. I didn't answer the messages. This guy ends up finding me on WhatsApp, messages me on WhatsApp, and asks me if I blocked him on text. It was just so crazy to me. And I don't, because I'm not single, I don't run into this stuff, but just seeing this happen, so like seeing how easily this happened made me think about how much this must be happening in dating, generally speaking. So, you know, if somebody is not answering you, okay, this comes, again, we're coming back to, you've been ghosted. If somebody's not answering you, close the loop on the conversation. Do not go and find them on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and ask them why they didn't respond to you. Believe me, they got your message. They are choosing not to respond. This is actually such a funny example because it ties in like so many of the different things that I said today. For one, I was not responding to him. I just needed space on Sunday. So had he respected my space, he would have gotten an answer from me on Monday. Two, he didn't respect my privacy. Then he goes and adds me on WhatsApp. Now I don't want to respond on Monday because now that whole dynamic has changed. Had he had a little bit more patience, everything would have been better. He would not have, like, I didn't actually like ghost him. I was very honest after about how I don't work on Sundays, and I didn't appreciate, I, you know, directed him to our email address if he had questions. A whole thing. No answer is the answer. Exactly. So but again, so there's so many, like, this is double-sided in so many ways because I don't believe in ghosting. So not answering is not the answer either. But yeah, so this just like violated so many of these protocols that like this, so many tips, guidelines, rules, whatever you want to call them, from this protocol that just, it didn't work in his favor at all. So that was a long way to talk about, a long explanation to share. Respect someone's space, respect someone's privacy. But like I said, actually respect it. Think about it that way. You know what, this person probably needs a little bit of space today. I'm going to give it till tomorrow, and just like take a step back. If you are meant to have a conversation with this person, if you're meant to try again with this person, give it a little bit of time. Taking time, taking a little bit of space, giving that person space, giving yourself some space, it can really do wonders. And the last one, what time is it? Okay, good. Timing is good. The last one is, yeah, really to always lead from a place of like kindness and happiness and joy. In one of the last lives, I think it was the online dating strategies, I talked to you guys about not dating, like first of all, being very intentional about when you date, and not just like dating for the hell of it, swiping all day long with no like kind of roadmap to like where you're going, why you're doing it, what your intentions are, whether you're in a good mood or bad mood. You're just kind of like going about it. I really think it's important to set some kind of intention with your dating in general. So I did suggest putting yourself out there when you're in a good mood. When you've had a bad day, don't go and date online. It's probably not going to be the best experience, maybe. But at least in this case, to always go into your interactions to make someone else's day. One of the things that we've been doing in our digital speed dating events the last few weeks is I've been asked, so I've been sharing this with clients, and I've asked our hosts to share this with clients as well, is let's be here today, guys, to make each other's day. And when I'm doing these lives with you, that's what I want to do. I'm here to make your day any way that I can. If I can answer a question, if I can, that's my goal here today. Even if you don't take these tips, if I can somehow bring joy into your life, and that's my intention. And I would apply the same rule of thumb, the same tip, the same guideline to your protocol, your how to be a good single. How to be a good single guidelines is go into things to really all of your interactions. Like, how am I going to make this person happy today? How do I make this person smile today? If you're not and you don't have to feel that way, but when you're not feeling that way, then maybe you don't need to be interacting as much that day. So those are, how many do we cover? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those are the 8 kind of baseline, fundamental kind of rules of thumb. Rules of thumb. Jen, you know, I'm so bad with the plural or singular when I'm like saying out a whole sentence like that, where it's like, anyways, whatever. So make my day, do events for 50s. We are definitely planning to do events, but again, Francine, I will get to that in a moment. So this is just okay. So that's gone. This is just like I said, the fundamentals, the basics. I think these should be on everybody's list. All of these should be on your list of things that makes you a good single. These are the main things that really need to stop, hard stop on the dating scene today. These are the things that need to really come to a halt. And the rest is, like I was saying before, what are the things that you have encountered that you know need to stop? So what you could do from this point on is add a few things to your list that really make sense for you. These are fairly simple. In my opinion, these are things that you have complete control over. These are things that you could very easily develop a system for, so you're not always thinking about it. I had a coaching client a while ago. It was a woman, very attractive woman. She found herself in a lot of conversations that she didn't want to have anymore. And she was struggling. She's like, I don't want to keep ghosting people, but I can't keep having these conversations. And then when I try to end the conversation, they'll message again. You don't, and I always say this is I think it's becoming like my slogan. You don't have to work that hard. Come up with a template. And I know this is very unromantic, but when you're not interested in someone anyways, romance is kind of like out the window at this point. So come up, have a copy paste in your notes on your phone, a 2-liner, 3-liner that you can literally copy paste every time you want to end a conversation. This just takes the thinking out of it, where you don't have to be like, oh, what should I say to this person? Now it's awkward. So come up with a generic copy paste message. This is the only time I would suggest a copy paste message when it comes to online dating or texting or whatever it is, where you could just say, you know what, maybe I should have thought this through a little bit more. I don't want to don't take what I'm saying word for word, but just to give you a bit of an example, you could say something like, greet the person by name, mention the person by name. So it might be like, hey, Brad, it's been really nice chatting with you. Unfortunately, I don't see this going any further, but I truly wish you all the best. You don't owe anybody a bigger explanation than that. So it can, and again, you don't have to worry about how they are going to react. How they react, totally not your problem, as long as you are doing the right thing. And how are you doing the right thing? By letting them know that you're not interested in carrying this conversation forward. Declutter for yourself. So yeah, so come up with a 2 two-liner that just like every time you want to finish up a conversation and end the conversation there. I don't remember exactly how I got into exactly that, but it was on topic with everything else that we're chatting about. So we're at the exact 35-minute mark, guys. Those are we will do a Q&A, but for anybody who has to go, we really have covered all of the main tips today. So again, think about this, take some time. These tips, not all of them, not the last 2 or 3 that I shared, but the rest are all up on our blog. So if you go to dashingdate.com/blog, it's I think the most recent post, or the second to most recent post. This challenge is your dating challenge this month is A, to develop this protocol, and B, to be a good single this month. Now I remember, so these are really, really simple things. There's really no reason that you should not be able to always follow these steps. These are not difficult things to do. There's no overthinking. And I know that there may be some situations where they may not apply, but generally speaking, you should be able to do all of these, and I hope and encourage you to develop your protocol further. If you actually have this in place, if you write this document out for yourself, the more you date, the longer this list is going to get. And I don't need, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like this long. But you're just going to, again, start to be more aware of what people should or should not be doing on the dating scene. And when someone treats you a way that you don't like, you can, this is crazy. How does someone even behave this way? A lot of the things, my guess, is going to fall under these ones that we touched on. So not, being really rude to someone, not treating them like they're behind a screen and a complete, like, not even a human being. It's just really, really not cool anymore. So I think by just knowing that this should exist in your life, you're going to be so much more aware of how you treat people, and a lot more aware of how you are being treated, which is a big one too. We are often letting people treat us a certain way, not respond to us, and then pick up a conversation 2 months later. These things are not really cool. Don't engage in a conversation just because somebody who ghosted you 2 months ago is now bored and wants to pick up the conversation again. Of course, this is for you to decide, but at least you'll be like more aware of how you're being treated and how you are treating others. So that is today's live on how to be a good single. As I mentioned, thank you guys so much for joining. And this video will remain online, where, like I said, we're just past the 35-minute mark. So I'm going to scroll through these. So for anybody who wants to stay on board, please do. What we will do, true to form, is a short Q&A. I'll scroll through these. Excuse me. I'll scroll through these comments and maybe answer some of these questions, or at least discuss some of these topics. Right. So give me a second. All of these good mornings. Everybody's so sweet. Oh yeah, I did want to cover this. So Aleem said they are rejecting your profile. So this was about, I was like, they're not rejecting you. They don't really know you yet. Yeah, they are rejecting your profile. Rejecting is a really harsh word in general. But again, online dating, it has its own set of, it's the dynamic with online dating is really its own thing. And to participate means you are accepting kind of the rules of the game. And Aleem, if you haven't watched it, I would suggest watching the 2 lives I did on online dating profiles and strategy. They're 2 separate ones. And because what I talk about is how we need to view online dating as a tool, as this landscape that we really get to play within and have fun with and take advantage of. And the more that you can start to see the more that you can start to see online dating in that way as a tool, the more you're going to make better use of it and just generally have more fun with it and probably get far better results out of it. So is somebody rejecting your profile? Yeah, sure. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, your profile is not meant to appeal to everybody. In fact, it should not appeal to everybody. It should be written in such a way that appeals to the type of people that you really want to be with. So if someone rejects your profile, like I say, time saved, move on to the next. That's one of the beautiful things about online dating is, how many people are really out there. I haven't read this one. I'm going to post it, Jen, because it's a long one. Maybe we could all read it together. All right. I think that what it really comes down to is treating other people how you want to be treated 100% when it comes to ghosting. The same applies with responding to a match. I find that many of my single friends get frustrated when guys don't message them when they match, but my female friends don't message them either. Such a great point. We actually talked about this in one of the online dating lives. And I was speaking directly to women, like, girls, come on. And older or younger, like if you want to meet somebody, you might have to bend some of your, I'm trying to find a word that's not going to offend anyone, but you might just have to change your ways a little bit. If you're not getting the results you want, you have to switch it up. You have to change something. And I think that when it comes to online dating, first of all, there is a huge, very successful company that you guys know of, which is Bumble, who have designed their entire app around women making the first move, that if you match, the woman has to message. This concept, like, I trust that the people behind the Bumble app, and I follow them online, they've thought this through, because there was something that was not working online, which was women getting just flooded with many useless messages from guys, where the guys who were sincere and making an effort were getting lost among this flood. So women were making the first move. So ladies that are here today, start to think about that. If you've matched with someone, it is fair game at that point. Both of you, one of you should be messaging each other, and it does not have to be the guy. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking, well, if the guy's really interested, he's going to message me. It's tough because I get it. I do get it. But I think experimenting and playing around a little bit is worth it, especially because so many men are really not getting the response that they want from women. And there's just this whole negative environment around a lot of like men messaging women online. So I think if we could just like give them the green light, give them the signal to go ahead, at least get things moving, and then see kind of like how the gentleman maybe takes it from there. So thank you for that comment, Jen. This is true. Thank you for sharing that, Danny. This one we covered, guys. Okay, and Jen responded. So let's see. So what's cool varies from person to person, though. Like how much information is provided, how many reasons really varies from person to person. That is such a great point. We all, what some person will think is like cold or rude, like if a girlfriend of mine says, can you believe this guy said that? Sometimes it just takes a shift of perspective, and often that's what we get from our friends, or just someone who can look at things objectively to be like, actually, I don't really think they were trying to be rude. One way we could maybe approach this is as a base. I don't know if there must be some people here who watched my live on I think this was 2 weeks ago, giving people an A as a starting point, giving people grade A, giving them the benefit of the doubt. And if they, lose that score over time, they lose it. But start with an A rather than we seem to be starting people at like a C level and making them work their way up to an A. This was referencing the movie Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer, such a good movie. Where, the classroom, she was a teacher in a, difficult, whatever, rowdy kids in the classroom. So she gave everybody an A, and she's like, all you have to do is keep it. And I think that this is something we could apply in dating and not really not bring our perspective so much, not bring our baggage so much with these complete strangers that we haven't even gotten the chance to know yet. So hopefully that addresses that. Again, very true. People are allowed to change their feelings. Like, just because you expressed, interest yesterday, the conversation can dwindle. Like, you're allowed to be excited and then change your mind. You don't have to feel bad about that, one, and no one should make you feel bad about that, two. So thank you for sharing that, Aleem. What do you think of posting these comments on the live? You guys can see them, right? I think it's pretty cool. Eric, I don't know if you're watching, but thank you for finding this new platform. Francine, I will get to your comment about our events. June, let's take a look at this. It's a longer one. I haven't had the chance to read it yet. Maybe we can read it together. I don't think that we should ghost others, but it's not generally a good idea to close the loop on conversation when we are ghosted. If we close the loop too soon, we may not be giving others enough time and space to think, so we may ruin a potential. On the other hand, if some time has passed and they still have not responded, clearly they're not interested, we need to move on. Closing the loop may make others feel bad and restart a conversation and waste each other's time. Yeah, I think it's a really great point. Right, so I didn't cover how much time is needed in between. So if we were to tie two of the points that I shared earlier together, which is giving someone space, and if we pair that with closing the loop on the conversation. So obviously, if you're in the middle of a conversation, I'm not suggesting that you go in and close things up the next day at all. I'm really suggesting that you do it once you know that the time has completely passed. What I would suggest is that when you've made the decision, and that's why part of the tip is wish the ghoster well, and make sure that you're sincere and genuine about your wishes. So what I mean by that is you at this point have made the decision to not continue a conversation with this person, meaning that if they respond, ideally you are not interested in continuing the conversation. At that point, you actually don't need to respond. So I would close the loop for you in a lot of scenarios when we feel bad about somebody asks you a question, you're in the middle of a conversation, you respond with 3 long messages and the person just never answers you. I think closing the loop on that conversation for yourself in this scenario just brings closure and just keeps things very clean for you in your own dating life, where you've close that and you're moving on. Close and move on. So that's the way that I'm suggesting it, is when you've made the decision to not engage with this person anymore, and to probably pay attention to that. If they're responding just out of guilt, even though they're responding nicely, how somebody responds is still, it's not about one almost has nothing to do with the other when I'm talking about these protocols. Somebody might respond and give you a rude response. That's not your problem. Someone might come back and be polite. Again, it doesn't really matter at that point. That's kind of where I was coming from. Okay, cool. I think we have to establish what is acceptable and what is not. Don't sell yourself short. Right. So Francine, I completely agree. I think if I'm understanding what you're saying is that you're agreeing with this process, because that's really what it is about. It's about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And the things that I shared today are really going hand in hand with the things that are not acceptable. And that's why these set of guidelines should apply. We should be implementing them all the time, because all of the ones, I'm not going to list them all over again, not following these is not acceptable, in my opinion. So, okay. Okay, we're coming to, I normally give myself the 24-hour mark. If I don't get a response, I will wait 24 hours before sending a second message. After that, if I still don't get a response, it's time to move on. Yeah, I think that's fair. My mind's going like in a few different directions. I don't know how relevant um, what I'm thinking is. It's a good tip. Obviously, you don't want to be sitting there like waiting. I think this is actually a pretty decent. I think this is. I think this is fair. I think if this is working for you, and you find that you're not wasting time, that you're not waiting for people to respond, and this just works for you, and you feel good about it, and then I think this is a good like some good like parameters to work within. Okay, one more from Aleem. Thank you for being so engaged today. If I felt a genuine connection, I will send one last message asking if everything is all right. And if they are no longer interested, I wish they were just honest and let me know. If it was something else, I would really like to know what made them vanish. Yeah, I'm like hit or miss on telling people. I'm like, I'm not sure where I stand on telling people what, like where they messed up or why I'm not interested, because it can just be so subjective. Like it just like something that works with one person, just that approach may work really well with one person and not with someone else. When somebody doesn't really know you yet, I'm not sure how much their opinion matters. But I do agree. I think if you have created a decent rapport with someone, and you've chatted a little bit, and now they're not showing interest, and you really are so confused as to what happened, I personally would ask, like, I would want to know. I want to be like, you know what, like, just between us, like, I'm serious about meeting someone. I did like you. I don't want to make this totally cool. I really wish you all the best. This is not, make it very clear that this is not, this doesn't have anything to do with them or trying to date them. But do you have any advice for me when I talk about experimenting on the dating scene, especially with online dating? This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. There's so many people out there, and there's so much valuable knowledge that you can accumulate about what you are and are maybe what you could be doing, what you're doing right, not doing right, and what you could be doing better. And some of the best people, potentially the best people that could tell you, as long as you know to take their advice, with a grain of salt, and not, and really analyze what they're saying, not just be like, oh my God, what this person is saying is like everything and more. But yeah, like, why not ask someone, how you could improve? I would definitely experiment with that a little bit. Okay, so we have a question here. We'll read it together. What if you and a guy are matched on an online dating app, and he makes the first move in conversation and I respond, but now haven't heard from him in a week? Is that him showing no interest even though he was interested? Hard to know what is real or not these days. No one's honest. So do I delete and forget and move on? So can you guys just so I'm pretty sure everybody, yeah, I think you guys can see this. I probably don't have to ask so many times. So Diana, if you were here at the beginning of today's conversation, or in the middle, one of the tips that we covered is gone onto the floor. One of the tips that I shared with everybody was, I think it was the second one actually, which is just because like people are allowed to change their minds. I think that in this specific scenario, it's better that this person is maybe not that serious, just because he expressed interest and then like, you know, moved along that quickly, didn't bother engaging in a conversation, didn't bother following up, and it's been a week and your conversation was that short-lived, you know, it's just like one message. I mean, I really would, when we talk about boundaries in developing, I covered this also in the online dating strategy Facebook Live, which is setting up kind of like a set of parameters for yourself that like, how do you make dating easy for you? These questions, like what you just asked, I think for you, Diana, you should have this as a rule for yourself. I really don't like using the word rule, but whatever, it's what's coming to mind right now. Where if a man messages you and you respond and you didn't hear back in kind of like Aleem's approach earlier, the 24-hour mark. So he set himself up with a very specific, I message someone 24 hours. If I really like them, you know, I'll message them one more time. If nothing, I move on. And I think that's great because you want to take the overthinking out of online dating. Overthinking and wondering if, you know, each person was a good match for you, if wondering if each person is a missed opportunity. It's not the approach I would use when it comes to online dating. So I think that this question going forward could actually be a no-brainer for you. This could be a decision that you make for yourself now to say, when somebody messages me and expresses interest in me and I reciprocate and they don't respond, I'm done. And you can decide how long that time frame is. Obviously, don't be too quick to dismiss. But again, you could play with that. If somebody responds to you in a week, maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe that's not the pace at which you're hoping to build. Build a rapport with someone, like one message every week. Maybe that's not how you want to date online. So I think that coming up with a way that works for you with online dating is really important. And this is not going to even be a question for you going forward. Okay, let's look at June's question. If we receive a match at speed dating and message the other person, they never respond, what should we do? I would treat that very similarly to how it works with online dating. As somebody who's been running a speed dating event company for 8 years, it definitely bothers me when, you know, we bring people together to connect at our events, they match, and then they ghost each other. Like they don't even bother to respond. So much so that in our matches email, we do ask our clients, like, please be courteous and respectful. You have just recently expressed interest in this person. So if they respond, if they message you, please respond, even if it is to tell them that you've changed your mind. So, you know, this speaks entirely to what I'm talking about today. It is a way of dating that we have been encouraging for years at Dashing Date. So unfortunately, June, I would look at it that way as well. I think that when it comes to speed dating, sometimes like in the moment you match, then because it's speed dating, like it's moving fast. So in the moment you might think like, okay, you know what, like I don't want to be closed-minded. I'm gonna, you know, match with this person, and then you change your mind, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think with speed dating, it's a little bit different than online dating because you have actually met the person. So these days online, digitally, but you have chatted, you've seen each other face to face, especially at our in-person events, you've met each other like in person. You've, sorry, I'm getting distracted with the comments. You've met in person. So I would, when it comes to speed dating, I would, and this is for you to decide for yourself, I look at speed dating and matches from your speed dating event. I really look at it like a little black book almost, because I will have clients who come speed dating. They'll have 3 matches, but they'll pursue one. And there's nothing wrong with that. You matched with one person. You matched with 3. There was one you maybe liked the most, and there's nothing wrong with that. You reached out to that person and things started to move forward. Great. If your other matches reach out to you, I would tell them, right? I'd be like, I actually matched with a few people. I've started something with someone. Thank you so much for reaching out, but I'm going to see where this goes. But for people that you may have not connected with, I have clients that be like, oh, I matched with someone 3 weeks ago, but I started dating someone else. It's been too long now, so I can't reach out to them. I think that's absolutely false. I think that you can always reach out to your matches, even if time has passed. You've connected, you've met in person. I think it's really fair game to message anytime, to be like, I would even go as far as even months later. You could reach out and be like, hey, we met back at speed dating. Neither of us ever reached out. Would you like to go for a drink? I think collecting, though, like having those matches and even reaching out to them later is a really great idea. So I know I just went off like on a little speed dating tangent there, but that's what I would say for that. I think it's definitely a different dynamic than online dating, but we do see that people do, not respond after. It's not cool. It's a behavior we try to change. So the best advice I could give you right now, June, is to lead by example. Okay. What is the app you're using to show comments on the screen? It's really effective and professional. Well, I have my colleague, Eric, to thank for this. He found this for us, I think just yesterday or the day before. It's called StreamYard.com. We were up and running in like a few seconds. I put this really random, terrible test video on Facebook last night by accident. But yeah, so it's called StreamYard.com. I could do some cool stuff. I don't know if I could do it live. Okay, now I've had like our little logo in the corner. Anyways, yeah, I'm really enjoying the platform, and I'm glad to get good feedback about it. Okay, we are almost through these questions. Not everybody is online all the time. I often take a week break. Yeah, I agree with this. I think this goes back to the tip about giving someone a little bit of space. I do think, though, when it comes to online dating, that it's pretty challenging to build any type of to gain, like, I think there needs to be momentum for something to move forward when it comes to online dating. I don't think that Dieta, again, I don't know enough about the way you online date, but based on this comment or anyone else that approaches online dating, like just like once in a while, I don't think that is the best use of your time with online dating. I think keeping that momentum going when you are having a conversation that you're engaged in is important. So what I might do is not start too many conversations if you're planning to take a week break. I would only really engage in conversations that you can keep going. Actually, now I'm thinking about something else. So that's one thing. Another thing is, it's important for you guys to set the pace, like let somebody know, teach them how you communicate. So it can be frustrating if you're like, bouncing back and forth. There's a great conversation going on, and then you just disappear for 2 days. That could feel like you've been ghosted. So let the person know, like, it's been great chatting with you. I'm about to actually hop off. I'm working on a big project for the next couple of days, but I would love to continue this conversation. How about that? That would be nice. Like just a little bit more communication with each other, actually letting people know that you're going to disappear for 2 days, but you actually want to continue a conversation with them. Just a little more honesty. But specific to your question, Dieta, is, yeah, I wouldn't start conversations if you're not going to actually be able to keep them going. Hey, Wade, nice to see you here. Wade came to, I hope I'm allowed to say this. Wade came to You can probably see from his profile picture, he's with a lovely woman now, and they have a baby now, not from speed dating. This was I think an old flame that you connected with later on. But yeah, Wade came to some of our speed dating events in the early days, like 2013. And Wade, you're right. So not everyone takes it as seriously as some of us do. So you're 100% right. And that's why I think that developing this protocol for yourself, where you know that you are always doing the right thing. Again, whether or not other people respond well, you know that you are behaving well, you're treating yourself with respect, you're treating others with respect, because that's what it means to be a good single. Let's share Aleem. So Aleem is addressing Dieta and Wade right now during quarantine and self-isolation. For those looking for a true serious relationship, there is no other way to meet people besides online. So if they are not on all the time, that could be a reason they are not involved as much as you, or they are just busy with work and personal life. I feel they should put in some priority if they truly want it. Nothing comes easy. Aleem, that's a great point. I think it speaks to, again, one of the last lives I did about, if you're serious about meeting someone, you know, you are going to prioritize dating just like you do anything else. And that means putting in the time and being intentional and being intentional when you date and why you date. So really setting that time and not just kind of like scrolling, like I said, mindlessly all day long. Yeah, StreamYard.com. Eric, we have Eric saying, yeah, Eric, people are loving the platform. Amazing. All right, let's go with Aleem again. I just, thank you so much again, Aleem, for being, for sharing your thoughts. I just wanted to share something to the ladies who are sick of getting ghosted. This is what happens a lot of times, not every single time, but most of the time. You start talking to a guy and he notices he's always the one texting first and always asking you to hang out. So eventually he just pulls back and says to himself, I'm going to let her come to me and let her text first. But then she doesn't. And then you don't probably call again. And then they tell their friends they got ghosted. You know, one of the things I talk about with online dating is it's really not meant to, you're not meant to build your relationship on an app. So the longer you stay on that app, and you might be talking about, you might also be referring to moving off of the app, Aleem, but we're also not meant to build a relationship through text message. So I know that right now, so if you're not, two people dating online should, and if it's working and you're enjoying the conversation, you guys should meet and not have this ongoing long kind of dwindle. It's just going to dwindle and eventually end in someone being ghosted, someone losing interest, because it's not captivating enough. It's very difficult to carry on a conversation on text where there's no sound and there's no tone and there's no smiling and there's no flirting and everything that is key and essential to communicating with somebody is all lost when it comes to online dating, texting. So you need to meet, and video chat is a great way. Like imagine I did this live and it was all text. First of all, if I wrote a blog, it would be how long would this blog? It would not be enjoyable. The way I'm communicating with you, so much would get lost in the way I'm saying things. And that's the same thing, right? With online dating, my legs are starting to hurt. I might have to stretch a bit. It's the same thing with online dating. Like you need to get like face to face sooner than later. Oh my gosh, my legs. So you need to jump. So right now your option is to jump on a video call. I'm even hoping that after this, people stick with the video calls. Meeting in person is obviously great, especially if it's convenient for everyone, but I know that it can start to get frustrating over time when you keep investing in these dates and you're traveling far to get to these dates only to meet in person and feel no connection at all. So that's why I always talk about bringing back the phone, jumping on a quick video call, and see, like, is there chemistry? Is it worth investing the time, the money into an actual date? So what I would say to summarize my very long-winded response to Alim's comment is, you shouldn't be asking someone out 3, 4, 5, 6 times without getting a response. Like, if 2 people are interested, you need to develop your dating approach to moving off of the app and moving off of text as soon as possible. Obviously, reading the signs, understanding the signals, waiting for that window of opportunity, which is, again, something I talked about in the Facebook Live I did about online dating strategy. Kavita, ever think about doing Zoom dating? Utilize their breakout rooms for 6 minutes and then pull them back and switch it up. So Wade, it's like you're reading my mind. For the last 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, this is exactly what we do. We have Zoom events every week, and we're using their breakout room feature. The dates are 6 minutes long, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So I will now answer Francine, who asked me to make her day and do events for the 50+ crowd. So we do have speed dating services for our 45+ audience, which is for 50s. We even have mid 50s, late 50s. We don't have the digital events just yet. We've been experimenting with them for the last 6 weeks. Again, 5 or 6 weeks, and they've been going super, super well, but we are still in an experimental phase, and we're trying to figure out if this is something that we're going to continue, post-quarantine, post-COVID. It's looking like we will, but we're still tweaking a few things, and before we really roll this out and open it up to all 4 life stages that we cater to. So Francine, please, I do want to make your day. I just, we need a little bit more time, and hopefully we'll have something for you sooner than later. Okay, I'm going to go from the bottom up, because we're, okay, so after how long should you do a video call? A few days, a week? I don't want to text chat buddy either. Exactly, so thank you for your question, Meetha. I'm really happy that this conversation is coming from a woman. So, how long you have to wait, it depends, because it depends on the person that you're talking to. Someone might be up for it like same day now, and someone may need a little bit more time to develop, a little something before potentially feeling comfortable. So in that live, what I just mentioned, I did a live on online dating strategy, and one of the things I talked about there, so you guys can go and check it out, is there's this window of opportunity when you are chatting with someone online. You've met, you're chatting. There's this window of opportunity where things are just going really well, and the more you pay attention to this, the sooner you're going to the faster you're going to like recognize when this window of opportunity presents itself. So that window of opportunity is really when the conversation is going super well. It's you're feeling a connection. You know that the person likes you. You like them back. Things are going well. That is usually the best time to make your move, because after that, it can, again, if you wait and then you start a conversation, the next day or 2 days later, you don't know exactly how it's going to go. So I always suggest paying really close attention and acting in that moment where things are going really, really well. And acting in that moment doesn't necessarily mean having a video call in that moment, but it's planning a video call in that moment. And what that might mean that you need to do in terms of strategy is it means that you need to end the conversation there before it has the chance to kind of to kind of go downhill. So when you see that moment, you might be like, hey, this is where I'm going to end the conversation. I'm going to leave things on a high note, and I'm going to ask them if they want to meet up for a video call tomorrow or this weekend when they're free. So how I would approach that is, I'm having such a blast talking to you. It's unfortunate, but I actually really have to go. I would love to continue this. Would you actually be up for maybe a video call, excuse me, over a glass of wine this weekend? It could be like, 5 o'clock. Always give like a kind of, especially with the video calls, there's so much room to play there. You can have a coffee at 11 a.m. or um, a happy hour cocktail at 5 p.m. It doesn't always have to be like a late, 8 p.m. Saturday night thing. So play around with that. Make it very like low pressure. And you could even say like, about to hop off. I was thinking, I've been having such a great conversation. Would you like to jump on a video call? Maybe, tomorrow at 4 p.m., tomorrow, Saturday at 4 p.m. Let me know. And, I'll come back on here in about an hour to check my messages. Something like that. Light, friendly, respectful, polite, no pressure, short and sweet. That's how I would approach that. So it's more about the window of opportunity and paying close attention than an exact time frame. That's what I would say to that, Meetha. Okay, I agree if the guy... I'm so ahead of okay, so let's see. Okay, Suzanne, nice to see you here. Hi, Suzanne. Advice on scammers: you can chat for only so long without meeting. I'm not 100% sure I know exactly what you mean. Like, do you mean like spotting, like being able to spot somebody who's maybe has the wrong intention? I mean, generally speaking, you want to be very aware of what you're getting into, and really listening to your gut, really following your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, paying attention to that. And if you're curious, or you've had a pattern of being a little bit too cautious or having your wall up a little too high, I really do agree with the idea that most like people are generally good humans. But if you're worried about meeting the wrong person, just keep it really, and if you're meeting in person especially, just keep it very short. Be clear from the beginning that you're up for meeting for an hour, that you have that you'd love to grab a coffee. Go somewhere that's close by for you, somewhere that's familiar for you, somewhere where maybe you even know the staff that's working there, or whatever it is. Just like set yourself up to be in a really comfortable surrounding, so that way you can pay if you for any reason need to, if you've been burned multiple times and now you need to, your guard is up and you're like in that space, which is the best way I can answer this right now. Set yourself up to have really comfortable surroundings, so that way you can really be at ease and you can pay close attention to where it needs to go, rather than putting yourself in an uncomfortable environment. So you can be the one to take the lead on those in-person meetings, where you choose the place, you choose when it happens. Those are the things that are going to help you feel comfortable right off the bat, in my opinion. Okay. All right, guys. It's almost 12. You guys, you are chilling with me. That is so sweet. I think, actually, Marcel, let's check one more. Hi, Marcel. How are you? It's so nice to see you. Marcel has the craziest, bluest eyes you've ever seen. You can probably even see from this profile picture, they're wild. After a few video chat conversations, how to answer when he keeps constantly pressuring to meet up. He doesn't really care about social distancing. Well, that's your answer, Marcel. I think the answer is probably clear here, that if first of all, somebody pressuring to meet up is just the fact that you're using that language, like, already comes across as probably not the best approach when it comes to dating. You know, everything that I've been sharing today in the last few weeks is all about like light and respectful and um, being okay about like taking time to build something. And so right off the bat, it just doesn't sound like, I mean, I think it's pretty simple that you don't need to feel pressured, first of all. And if it's just not going in, you know, in the right direction, and you've already like shared your feelings on it, and then he continues to pressure, how to answer is, I'm not sure what your goal is, but if you want to end the conversation, you can, or you could just be very upfront and say that my best advice right now, Marcel, is to just be honest, to really express. You've had a few video chat conversations, so it's not completely new. I would just be really honest. You could even do it. I would even suggest to be honest on video chat. So jump on a call, just be like, listen, you know, you've been asking me out, and this is if you really like the guy. You've been asking me out and I'm flattered. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. However, I'm not planning to meet anybody during this time. And if you are willing, you know, I'd be happy to continue these dates with you because I'm really enjoying them. And hopefully you know, have the patience. And hopefully we both, again, it's about both of you. You're two people. Hopefully we can both power through and and get to know each other this way, and have the patience to, you know, wait this thing out, because I can't wait to grab a drink with you or a coffee with you as soon as we can. So that's how I would approach that. And obviously, if you're not interested, then you could just say you're not interested and end things. Oh my God, wait, are you in Stockholm right now? We have gone international, guys. That's true. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Okay, well, this has been it. So it's 35 minutes of tips and of an actual live, and then we've done almost an hour of Q&A. So thank you guys for your questions and, you know, answering each other. And you know what? One thing I'm really noticing, and I think you guys are probably noticing it too, or if you scroll through, you will notice, we're all on the same boat. We're facing the same things, and there doesn't seem to be all kinds of like, you know, conflicting arguments here where one side is saying one thing and another side is saying something else. So it really seems like we're on the same page about how we need to handle people not showing interest in us, how we need to handle not showing interest in someone else, how to respect ourselves, others, how to have boundaries, how to create boundaries. So yeah, which is comforting. So thank you guys for joining me yet again. This was so nice. You know, it's been, you know, preparing for these lives takes time. It takes work, and but and I committed to a 4-part series last month, and I thought, you know, should we continue these lives each week? And I just thought about how much joy it really brings me to be here with you guys. And if I can share, you know, just being so involved and immersed in dating in a way that obviously most people aren't. Like, most people don't own a dating company, and are, you know, working with singles of all ages from, you know, so many different cities. So if I can bring value from that and bring it to you guys, it makes me really happy. Like, I actually love sitting here with my coffee, and that's what I thought about when I was thinking about continuing these lives or not. So committed to another 4. This is again one of 4 that we'll be doing for the next the next 4 weeks. Again, if you guys have any suggestions, please feel free to email us or write them in the comments for topics that you would want covered. And yeah, thank you again for joining me. Enjoy your weekend. It's a beautiful day. I'll tell you guys something that I did yesterday. I really needed to get out of the house, and there was nothing really specific, but I was a little bit. Hi, Mike. Hey, JF. I was a little bit just like overwhelmed in general, and I was gonna go outside for a walk. Then I decided to jump in my car, and I'm going to tell you guys this, but I just like drove, and I just like maybe like 15 minutes from my place, like really not far, and I found this abandoned parking lot, and I went into the parking lot, and I opened the door, and I blasted music, like music songs that make me really happy, and I danced in the parking lot. Not well, by the way. I skipped around. I ran in circles. I moved my arms. People could see me for sure, like from their balconies. My girlfriend told me yesterday, she's like, someone for sure filmed you. And I was like, you know what, whatever. But that's what I did, and it was exactly what I needed. It was unplanned, but it was just what I needed. So if anybody's feeling that way, you know what I would really say is move your body somehow. And that I find like a lot of the advice we get is to move our body in a way of like working out, which of course is important. But you don't have. That's not the only way for you to move your body. I know this has nothing to do with dating, but you know what? Like, blast your favorite song. And you don't have to, just like blast your favorite song, move a little bit. And if you get into it, you close the curtains, open the curtains, whatever you want. But it made me feel really good yesterday. So I just wanted to share that with you guys in case it helps anyone this weekend and you want to follow suit. But that's what I did. Parking lot, loud music. I danced, I skipped. It was maybe like 2 songs. And I came home and it made all the difference for me. So I will leave you with that. Steven says, how about a live about signals? That is a great suggestion. I will write that down, and I will think about that, see if I can create something around signals only or incorporate signals into one of the lives. So thank you guys for all of your amazing comments, for engaging, for meeting each other. Hi Gilbert, how are you? Aleem, I'm so glad that you joined us, and thanks for all of your comments today. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the great weather if you're experiencing it the way we are here in Montreal. Love you guys. Have a great day.